Birdboy The Forgotten Children is a dark, gritty, Spanish animated film that was released in 2015, directed by Alberto Vanquez and Pedro Rivero, and is based off a comic also done by Alberto Vanquez. The film focuses on a group of anthropomorphic animals living in a post-apocalyptic world, after a recent factory disaster killed off much of the population and decimated the wildlife. One comment I saw which recommended this film described it to be like Animal Crossing with a nuke dropped on it, which, yeah, is a pretty accurate description. But it's not just the struggles of the surrounding world that our characters have to deal with, but also the demons that live within them, as we get a lot of themes around addiction, family struggles, and mental health. So, as you've probably guessed, despite this being an animation which features cute little animal characters, this is most definitely not a kids film. Kinda ironic that such a mature film was distributed by a company called G-Kids. Perhaps even more depressing than the film's setting, however, is the abysmal box office performance, as it bombed hard, making back only around $50,000 from its over $1 million budget. Was it deserving of such a failure? Or is there some real untapped beauty in this film? Well, let's explore and take a look. The film opens in an unknown land which is described as beautiful, prosperous, and alive.
1 minute in and we've already witnessed mass death. Boy, is this going to be a joyful watch.
The explosion not only killed thousands of civilians, but also destroyed the surrounding land, vaporizing trees and killing off much of the wildlife, including all of the fish which the islanders relied on as their main source of food. And it is here that we follow a select group of characters, as they do their best to survive this new unforgiving world. One trio we follow are 3 kids, named Dinky, Sandra, and Little Fox, who are all trying to escape the island to make it to the big city on the other side of the ocean. Let's start by looking at Dinky. Dinky is a young mouse who lives with her mum, stepdad, and brother/dog named Jonathan. Now, it's worth mentioning before we go any further that a lot of the stories being told in this film are done so through visual metaphors, which upon first viewing can make a lot of the film seem bizarre and weird for the sake of being weird, but beneath the surface there does seem to be some method to the madness. It actually reminds me a lot of the David Firth animations that you've probably seen on YouTube, which on surface level just seem to be weird and gross, but actually do hold some deep meaning as you dig deeper. So I'll give my take on what I think some of these visuals are meant to symbolize, and you can let me know in the comments whether you agree or disagree. We see that all is not well in the household, as Dinky has a lot of conflict with her family, as she is said to be acting rebellious with lacking in school and taking drugs, something which her religious parents dislike very much.
Mira cómo llora.
Este trimestre has vuelto a suspender 6.
El niño Jesús se desangra por tu culpa.
Se acabó.
Lies made baby Jesus cry.
Though not being directly told to us in the film, I'm going to put Dinky's rebellious behaviour down to her not liking the idea of her stepdad coming to take the place of her real dad. Reasons for this are that we get a little hint in the film that the family was once happy back when Dinky's original father was with them. And even small actions from her, such as destroying the alarm clock that was built by her stepdad, a subtle way of showing how she rejects his influence in the household. I also believe the way that we see the family presented is through that of Dinky's interpretation. Hence why her stepdad is seen wearing a fake mouse hood, as she sees him as a cheap imposter to her real dad. And perhaps Jonathan, who may be her new stepbrother, she sees as a spoiled brat who the family heavily favours over her, like he's some sort of obedient dog, as he is willing to follow his parents' wishes for him to become an engineer at uni, whilst Dinky has other pursuits in life.
Vamos, campeón, díselo. Muy bien, Johnny, ingeniero, ingeniero.
Despite the parents giving the illusion that they're happy, however, it's revealed that they themselves also have a supply of antidepressants, suggesting that this so-called happiness may just be a facade. Dinky ends up stealing these antidepressants from her parents, not just from pure spite, but to give them to another child named Birdboy, who she seems to have had a relationship with in the past. But in recent times he has become more distant from her, as he struggles to deal with the demons going on inside of him, hence why she steals the pills for him. And who is Birdboy? Birdboy is a young boy who used to live in the lighthouse with his father. After the factory disaster, much of the land and the wildlife was destroyed, so Birdboy's father, Birdman, tried to replenish the land by spreading seeds. The police, however, mistake this for drug smuggling, and so hunt him down and have him killed.
In bird culture, this is considered a dick move.
Even after the death of his father, the authorities still try to hunt and kill Birdboy, which means he has to remain on the run and hidden. The death of Birdboy's father clearly had an emotional impact on him, as he has now developed demons inside of him that fill him with rage and turn him into a monster. And the only way for him to suppress these demons is with the use of drugs. I think the demon inside of Birdboy is meant to symbolize the anger and grief he feels for his father, as evident by the fact that the demon manages to overcome him the moment he revisits the old lighthouse they grew up in. Then we have Sandra, who is a young rabbit that seems to show signs of schizophrenia, as she occasionally has these demonic voices that fill her head with negative thoughts, and try to get her to do harmful actions.
Sandra!
And finally we have Little Fox, who is Little Fox. Not really too much to say about Little Fox, other than he seems to be unfairly targeted by the other kids due to the fact that he's a fox. But despite that, he also appears to be the most kind-hearted and innocent of the characters, showing levels of care and empathy for others, even when his other friends don't.
Vámonos, deja ahí esa basura.
No es basura, solo es un simple objeto que tiene miedo de quedarse solo.
Then we have a couple of side characters too, such as a young officer dog trying to hunt Birdboy, a father and son mouse duo scrounging copper to sell for cash, and a young pig named Sakaris who has to take care of his sick mother. We first see him selling drugs to Birdboy as he needs to make the extra money to make up for the lack of fish left in the lake. The reason he needs the money is to fund the medication for his sick mother. Though the mother lays bedbound, there is a spider living inside of her that demands for Sicarius to get more drugs. And when the mother is given drugs, the spider grows in power. This is a clear metaphor for the spider representing the monster his mother has become due to her addiction to drugs, and what little of her original self is left is slowly withering away on the bed. Alongside our characters and personal stories, there are also some other themes explored in this world, such as discrimination, such as when Little Fox is targeted by the other kids at the school, and how the police officer will have a disgust for all birds, even the ones that are appearing completely innocent.
No hay más que verlas moviendo sus asquerosos picos llenos de mugre, con sus plumas infectas repletas de gérmenes, transmitiendo enfermedades espantosas.
And as you'd expect with a film which features a large man-made disaster, there's also a huge message on the importance of the environment, and how human development is destroying the natural world around us, causing us all to eventually suffer. Also, there's another part of the film that I didn't know where to put in the script. There's this random moment where the rubber duck and the pig just have this sort of stare off against each other. And I've been trying to figure out as to what this could mean, but honestly I'm stumped. So if any of you have any theories, please do let me know in the comment section. Okay, now let's talk about one of this film's greatest strengths, its animation. Because the animation in this film is absolutely beautiful. The stylization fits the dystopian tone perfectly, and there are some great scenes of high quality visuals, such as when Birdboy begins to hallucinate on drugs. The soundtrack also complements the mood perfectly, utilizing an electro-techno theme which offers a somber yet eerie tone throughout the apocalyptic world. But then we also have heightened moments of tension through the demon scenes, and then a little bit more of a choir vocal to offer elements of magic and hope during the nature scenes. Now it's also worth mentioning that there was a 12-minute short film produced under the same name before the main film came out, and fittingly this kind of acts as a prequel to the events that we see in the main film, as we see a little bit more of the world before the disaster happened. Most notably a glimpse into Dinky's family life from when her father was around, showing her in a much happier state of mind, and confirming the reason that her dad isn't around in present time was because he was one of the victims of the explosion. Honestly, if you haven't seen the full film yet, I would actually recommend going to check out the short film beforehand, as it gives you a little bit more backstory to the events happening in the feature film, and it will also give you a taster as to the visuals and storytelling style to expect, and you can decide there whether you think this is the kind of film that you will enjoy. Also, I think it's worth pointing out that there is also an English dub for the main film, and though I would recommend checking out the original Spanish dub with subtitles, I gotta say, the English dub is pretty good too. As far as I can tell, there are no alterations made from the original, the dialogue remains much the same, and the voice acting is just really solid. It's just such a shame that this film was a bomb at the box office, because you can see there was a huge amount of effort and creative talent put into it, which addresses some very real and relevant issues that a lot of people have and will be facing in life. But having said that, I can also understand why it wouldn't have been a huge hit, because this is a very dark film with a lot of intense visuals going on, and the story is told in a non-conventional way, which means you're probably not going to really appeal to the mainstream audience. Even so, I do think there are a lot of people out there who will enjoy this film that haven't yet heard of it. I myself hadn't heard of the film until a bunch of you guys started requesting it recently, and so I hope with a little bit more exposure, this film might be able to garner the attention it deserves.
Hoy podría ser un gran día. Sería una pena desaprovecharlo.